Hey! Hi, how you doing? This is the Gamertron, and welcome back to the Gamertron Show. So I've finally played Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Full disclosure, I've been anticipating this game for over 3 years. I've been interested and excited and following this game since it was first revealed and announced back in August of 2014. And I have to say, straight to the point, right off the bat, Hellblade was worth the wait. It was worth the 3-year wait for this game. Hellblade is one of those video games that you can truly describe as an experience. It's one of those video games where a video, a review, any sort of description of the game, any sort of written or video format of showing off or talking about the game, it doesn't do it justice. This is one of those video games where you just have to play. This is a game where you have to play to really feel and understand what the game's about and what it's trying to do. Now, I'm going to go on for the rest of this video talking about Hellblade, going into mostly spoiler-free territory, sharing my thoughts and feelings on the game, and the gameplay in the background will be nothing but from the first few hours of the game. Because Hellblade is one of those video games where you can't spoil it for yourself. Spoiling Hellblade ruins the experience. I'll say right now, early on, if you have any interest in Hellblade, pick it up. It's worth the money, and it's a video game you simply cannot spoil for yourself. Even if you don't mind spoilers, Hellblade is a much more powerful experience. It's much more engaging and satisfying to go into Hellblade completely blind. I highly recommend Hellblade. I love the game. And if you want to go into it with zero spoilers, zero information, that's how I recommend playing the game. There you go. You don't need any more information for that. If you want to stay and hear my thoughts, feelings, and opinions on the game, then feel free to stay. But what I have to say will contain light spoilers, and the gameplay in the background will contain light spoilers. Everything. Every aspect of Hellblade's gameplay, every aspect of the experience Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice provides is worth experiencing on your own. Okay, with all that being said, let's get into my thoughts, feelings, and opinions. This commentary review on Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is a third-person hack-and-slash game with a heavy focus on narrative and puzzle solving. While Hellblade does have combat, it does have a third-person hack-and-slash combat system. For the most part, Hellblade is a game about its main protagonist telling a story, a character journey. For the protagonist, the title character, Senua. This game is all about her. She is the sole focus. While there are other elements, there are other characters in the game, in the lore of the game, everything that is experienced, however, in Hellblade is done so through Senua. We are seeing the world presented, we are seeing the story and characters presented from her perspective, from her eyes. And what makes that so important, and so engaging, and so unique to Hellblade is that Senua is not an ordinary person. She suffers from a very severe form of psychosis. Senua is mentally ill. She does not have complete control over her mind. How she perceives the world and people and language is radically different to how you and I do. And this is what makes the character of Senua and makes the story of Hellblade so fascinating, so engaging, so enthralling. Because we're absorbing the story and we're meeting this character, we're being introduced to this character from a perspective that is rarely touched upon in media, whether it be movies, books, or video games. And because from start to finish you are alongside Senua through her journey and experiencing things how she perceives them to be. Hellblade at times can feel like a horror game. It can be horrifying, it can be claustrophobic, it can be exhausting, daunting, truly an emotional roller coaster. The story and plot of Hellblade goes as follows. Protagonist Senua has lost her lover Dillion. He was killed in a Viking raid. And Senua believes, we don't know if this is real, we don't know if this is a fantasy in her head, or if the Norse and Viking mythology presented in Hellblade is actually happening. If these gods and monsters are real, or if they're just in Senua's head. But to Senua, they are very real. And from Senua's perspective, her lover Dillion, his soul has been taken by the goddess of death, Hela. And so in order to save her lover's soul and find peace, Senua travels to hell itself in order to save her lover's soul, while confronting her past and the demons within her. I can't begin to describe how powerful a journey Hellblade is, how powerful and memorable and engrossing a character Senua is. I wanted nothing more than to see her complete her goals. I wanted nothing more than for her to find happiness. I really, truly felt for this character. I love Senua as a character. The performance her voice and motion capture actress gave was perfection. Senua seems real to me, and as the story unfolds and more of her backstory is unveiled, fuck it, man, you just want to give her a hug. You just want to tell her everything's gonna be okay. And since you're put into the shoes of Senua and you get to experience what it's like having her psychosis firsthand, the connection you grow with her is all the more powerful. You see in Hellblade, one of, if not the most important aspect and feature of the game is its audio, is its voice acting. You see, as Senua suffers from psychosis, she suffers from multiple personality disorder, and having multiple different voices, different personas, constantly speaking to her in her head. So while we have the physical being, the physical character of Senua in front of us, in her mind, there are all these different characters vying for her attention, for our attention to be heard. You have the soft and calm, almost motherly narrator. You have the schizophrenic furies that constantly juggle between being helpful and kind to Senua, and the next second being mean and aggressive towards her, putting her down. Then we have the voice and memory of her lover Dillion, which comforts her and gives her hope. And then we have the voice of her father, the Shadow, who constantly degrades her, but also pushes her to be stronger. And then we have the voice of Druth, a friend of Senua's who shared with her stories of Norse and Viking mythology, the stories of Odin, Thor, and Hela, of great warriors and Valkyries, monsters, and the apocalypse, Ragnarok. All these different voices, all these different characters are interesting and fascinating and brilliantly voice acted. If Hellblade was an audiobook, I'd buy it. Just the voice work, the dialogue is masterfully done, and it elevates the story, the narrative, the plot of Hellblade to extremely high levels. It surpasses that of some of the most critically acclaimed films even. It's that damn good. I can't praise it enough. So overall, I gotta say, the story, the characters of Hellblade is goddamn perfection. If you are all about having strong stories and characters in your video games, if that's what you look forward to in games, Hellblade is for you. Absolutely. Next up, I want to talk about the visuals and the graphics of the game, which, next to the narrative and story, they're also perfect. The visuals, the graphics of Hellblade are perfect. They're absolutely beautiful. They're absolutely stunning. The lighting, the texture work, the immense, staggeringly gorgeous amount of detail in every asset, every facet of the game. This is one of the most beautiful looking games I have ever goddamn seen. And there are no pre-rendered cutscenes. Every cutscene, everything you see in the game is in-engine. There is no CGI or any of that BS. Everything is done with the in-game engine and it looks simply phenomenal. I can't believe this was done on the Unreal Engine 4. This was done on Unreal Engine 4. Look, there are some beautiful looking Unreal Engine 4 games, but Hellblade? This is photorealistic. This is absolutely photorealistic at times. It's scary how real Hellblade can look at times. It's such a drop-dead, gorgeous, beautiful game. It's an absolute treat, an absolute treasure to look at and experience. There are several times throughout Hellblade where I just had to stop playing and just admire the environments and just stop and look at Senua, because her character model is fucking stunning. It's gorgeous and so highly detailed. She looks alive. She looks real. Yeah, visuals, graphics of the game, perfection. Absolute perfection. And now we finally come to the most important part of any video game, the gameplay. But it's important to note specifically for Hellblade that Hellblade is a story-focused video game. While it does have combat, while it does have puzzle solving, while it does have environmental exploration, for the most part, Hellblade is a game focused on its story, focused on the journey of Senua, and the reason for the combat and the puzzles, and the long segments of just walking through an environment, they are there in order to add and contribute to to the narrative. I think it's important to know that Hellblade is a story-focused game. Don't come into this game expecting a Devil May Cry-like experience, a Bayonetta-like experience. That being said, however, the actual gameplay of Hellblade is still pretty solid. Combat in Hellblade is very intense. Hellblade has you at times fighting multiple enemies at once, but you can only focus your attention and engage one enemy at the time, although you can change what enemy you're focusing on at any given time. Combat in Hellblade is for the most part personal 1v1s, even trying to manage multiple 1v1s at a time. Hellblade has familiar hack-and-slash mechanics to anyone who's played a hack-and-slash game before. You have light attacks and heavy attacks that you can combo, a guard break stun attack, having you kick your enemies into a stun, a block and parry mechanic, which are obviously self-explanatory, and a focus mechanic, which is kind of like bullet time, slowing down enemies, slowing down time, but not Senua, allowing you to get in some free hits and look awesome while doing it. Like I said earlier, combat is very intense, very personal, but also very satisfying. Light and heavy attacks, when your sword makes physical contact with the enemy, it feels meaty and chunky. It feels like you're slashing, you're hacking away at your foes. There's real weight to it. Real weight to your sword swings and attacks. And there's also legitimate strategy in comboing guard breaks, light attacks, and heavy attacks for maximum damage output and keeping enemies stun locked. Meanwhile, the game provides skill-based mechanics to help you deal with enemies and avoid damage through parrying, dodging, and blocking. Hellblade has a very skill-based combat system. While you can certainly feel cool, feel badass, look badass with the combat, you will die if you are not focused on managing the enemies around you, properly blocking and parrying and dodging attacks, and comboing light and heavy attacks to do the max amount of damage without leaving you in a vulnerable state to be counterattacked or backstabbed. And maximizing the use of your focus ability can be essential. It is essential during boss battles. Oh, I gotta take a moment to talk about the boss battles. They are truly epic and grand affairs. Their designs are hideous, monstrous, and intimidating. The arenas you battle the bosses in excellently reflect the mood and tone of the boss while building atmosphere. Oh, and the music! Oh, the music, not just that accompanies the boss battles, but the music that accompanies the entire game is simply gorgeous to listen to and truly invests you and uplifts the experience. It makes powerful moments all the more powerful. And then there's the other half of Hellblade's gameplay, the puzzle solving. Now, the puzzle solving I find personally to be a good mix of very simple, obvious puzzles and others that are more complex and intricate. Most puzzles have you manipulating the environment and changing the environment in a variety of ways, whether it be looking for symbols and icons, creating or removing doors and bridges, or using audio cues to help you maneuver around and find where you need to go. There's a good variety of different puzzles throughout the game that really challenge you and force you to pay attention to your environment. There were a few puzzles I got stuck on and I did have to look up a guide, but that's only because I'm an idiot. For the most part, I solved most of the puzzles and felt really good when I did. There were some genuinely clever and interesting solutions, and how they manipulated the environment was fascinating, especially in terms of Senua's perspective from her suffering psychosis. Overall, the gameplay of Hellblade really is solid. Just keep in mind, while there is combat and there is puzzle solving, for the most part, Hellblade is going to consist of you walking around, exploring the environment, and listening to dialogue. But what combat that is there and what puzzle solving that is there is really well done. It feels like a constant loop of rewards. You're rewarded for listening to the story with combat and puzzle solving, and you're rewarded for completing the combat and puzzle solving with more story. At least, that's how I see it. There's so much more about Hellblade I want to talk about. The unique instances in the story, the excellent character development of Senua, the unique environments you are brought to, how the game plays around and examines Norse mythology, and whether or not what you are experiencing in the game is real or just all in Senua's head. Then there's unique gameplay instances that are completely unique to the rest of what the gameplay has to offer that I'd love to go over, but it would spoil the game for you. Hellblade is one of those special games where you want to share it, you want to talk about it with everyone, but they need to play it first. This is a game you need to experience for yourself. This is a game you need to play for yourself unspoiled, to experience everything firsthand. Because like I said earlier in the video, talking about the game, reading about the game, watching the game is nowhere near as powerful or as good a descriptor of what Hellblade is than just playing it. I love this game. I adore Hellblade. I really do. This is Game of the Year material, honestly. This may be my Game of the Year 2017. It depends on what else comes out this year and if I prefer anything more than it this year. I easily, highly recommend this game to anyone who loves good storytelling in their video games. I highly recommend this to anyone who just wants a unique and different experience from their video games. I really do love this game. It was worth the wait. I'm so glad that I followed and stayed up to date with the developers Ninja Fury in their crafting of this amazing work of art. There's not much else for me to say besides go buy this game, go play Hellblade, go support this game. I can't recommend it enough. I love Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. This game is beautiful, and it deeply affected me as a human being. And well, that's been a video. I hope you liked the video. If you did indeed like the video in any way, shape, or form, please be sure to hit the like button. Hitting the like button helps you, helps me, helps everybody involved in the video. If you hit the like button, please leave a comment in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice and this video? Let me know your thoughts, feelings, and opinions in the comment section down below. I love reading comments. Get nearly enough comments. Please leave a comment. If you want to help out and support this video, then please share it on social media, Twitter and Facebook. And if you want to help out and support me directly, well, there's always Patreon. Anyways, guys, that's been a video, and I'll see you all later.